Since birth, we're presented with paths that lead us to either a life of contentment or demise. From such a young age, we face so much pressure to continue down this set path in hopes of success, never once pausing, continuously running as the weather turns from sunny to stormy. That slight burn in your lungs becomes a raging fire beneath your ribcage until you inevitably collapse from exhaustion. As you take heaving breaths and peer into the sky, the precipitation becomes indistinguishable from your tears, and all you can do is wallow in your failures. As you're forced to slide in the mud every time you attempt to catch up with the other travelers you've been with your whole life and watch as new ones pass you by. Some might slow to offer you a hand, but eventually they need to move on themselves, but you're paralyzed in place, compelled to observe but never move in the direction you've mapped out since you first picked up a pencil. But if you sit there long enough, ignore the scoffs from people stepping over you, you'll eventually stop shivering from the downpour, and you'll see a whole world you didn't even know existed. You'll see deer prancing through the trees, the rabbit hopping through the dandelion fields, and the slivers of sunlight that break through the clouds and hit the dewdrops to create small rainbows. As your tears slow and your breaths even, you'll realize that this pause wasn't as bad as you initially thought. Even with people who speed past, regarding you with judgmental expressions and disapproving eyes, it doesn't make this intermission the wrong decision, it just makes it different than expected. Just because you deviate from the intended path, pausing to thread your fingers through the undergrowth, doesn't make you a failure. This rest doesn't equal wasted time and potential, because the adventure that is life is not something you can fail or waste. My name is Wendy Fitzgerald, and due to mental health reasons, I was unable to graduate from high school, and instead I obtained my GED. Throughout this period, my self-esteem was incredibly low, and the adverse reactions I received only solidified my thoughts that I was a loser. However, throughout this process, I also learned valuable lessons I'm grateful to have experienced. The belief that this pre-constructed life will lead you to happiness is false. Everyone is packed with individual personalities that simply cannot be grouped as one. This preconceived notion that you must fulfill each of these expectations to be worthy of satisfaction, undeniably false. While trudging through the storm, with my nose in a book comprised of smeared letters and soggy paper, pushing myself to be perfect, to be worthy of existence, distracted me from the breathtaking views I was surrounded by. While I was only viewing the world through the lens of black words and white pages, I was bombarded with color when I finally looked up. When I finally placed my foot into the grass and off the well-trodden path, I found that tossing an acorn back and forth with the squirrels while lounging in the sun as I caught my breath had dried the tears that consistently streamed down my cheeks and replaced them with a broad smile that remained as I resumed my journey again. I learned that it's okay to take breaks. And if you can only recollect one thing from this speech in the future, I request it to be this. There is no timeline for existence, and ignoring the magnificent beauty, declining the extraordinarily unusual and unfamiliar opportunities that present themselves when experiencing the one life you're given, is nothing but a waste. What is the point of reaching the destination if you harbor no memories or stories to reminisce on the journey? Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.